Yeah, so it's taken me a week to make this video, just to get over the disappointment of what happened between Arsenal and Liverpool on the weekend. Um, yeah, I'm not so much disappointed in the result, but I'm absolutely fuming at the team selection that Emery went with. To me, he kind of bottled it before the game even started. And, there's an old saying that if your best players are fit, those are the players that you field. Now I can see what he was trying to do. He was literally just trying to stop the rot, and he was really scared of getting thumped 4-1, 5-1, whatever it might be, and he was trying to nick a draw, or maybe just at least reduce the deficit. And to me, he really needed to show balls and confidence in his players, which he didn't do. Now the real question mark going forward from here onwards is going to be Emery. What's he going to do? What's he going to do against Tottenham? But looking at the Liverpool game, I think it's clear for everyone to see. And looking at the stats last year, you would know that Liverpool are heavily reliant on their wing backs to supply their inside forwards and forward. You only need to look at the number of assists that Arnold and Robertson got last season, and to know that a huge part of their threat is relied heavily on these players. So what Emery did is he packed men behind the ball. Try to keep the centre of defence really compact, allow them to have the ball wide, and really nullify the threat. Because assist is only assist if the goal is finished, and you need those players. Mane, Salah, and Firmino. You need them to finish off any service from the wing backs. That also showed the lack of confidence that Emery has in his wing backs. Now, a lot of people forget. And this is a really important point for me, which is why I can kind of deal with what happened on the weekend, is that we've been missing our first choice left and right back for most of last season, and again at the beginning of this season. Now, the reason some fans got excited was because one area that we really needed to improve on was our left back, and we went and got one of the best, potentially the best left back out there, which was available, and that's Tierney. Now, both Tierney and obviously Bellerin are not fit enough to play, and we're playing with a makeshift option of Maitland-Niles a right back, and Monreal for me is just slightly past it, and he just hasn't got the pace to live up with some of these players. Although, against the smaller teams, he can really do a job. But, it kind of showed. If you got Monreal against Arnold and Salah on the left flank for Arsenal, he's got a hell of a lot of work to do. Now, you can see what was happening against that game is that two of our midfielders kept being stretched out wide to cover for the full-backs, and that left us short in midfield. And that meant that when our forward players got the ball, there was no one really to hold the ball up. I think Pepe did a fantastic job just because he's like incredibly gifted at dribbling and really running at players. But Aubameyang had a poor game just because he's not really good at holding up the ball, and that's for me where the game was lost. If we had Lacazette up front, Lacazette's actually really good at holding up the ball, and he's really good at bringing, the players around him into the game, kind of like for Firmino. But I genuinely think that Lacazette is a better player than Firmino, but, the Liverpool players will disagree with me now. I can totally understand why they would, because, Firmino's obviously proven himself over the years, and Lacazette kind of, although he's had some good performances and shipped in some goals last season, there's going to be a lot of onus on these three players to really deliver for the fans, but they can only do that if you field all three of them at the same time. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the individual mistakes from Luiz or our defense. As I mentioned before, when a defender makes a mistake, it's way more magnified than what people actually would believe if you had to break down kind of what's led up to that goal, whether it's a midfielder giving a ball or not closing down quick enough, or not covering his ground quick enough. The jury's still out on how Luiz is going to do. I still think he's a good addition, and I think there's a hell of a lot of pressure, because as soon as you bring a player of his caliber, you kind of expect, our defense is sorted. No, the defense is not sorted. There's a hell of a lot more that goes, into shoring up a defense like Arsenal have had, and I think a lot of players, especially in the midfield, need to kind of step up and take ownership of their positions. And for me, Xhaka is not good enough. There's some game he's just really inconsistent, and for me, he just hasn't got the mobility that Arsenal need. I think he slows down a lot of our build-up play, and one thing I was really surprised and disappointed at seeing was Torreira not playing. Torreira is miles ahead of Guendouzi, and I understand that he didn't really have a pre-season, and I understand that these things need to be considered, but putting the Liverpool game aside, I'm really looking forward to the Tottenham game. Let's hope we can get our season back on track. Let's hope Emery grows a pair of balls and plays the front three and plays Torreira, and that at the end of that result, we can kind of take some confidence away from that. And I think I'm counting down the days till Bellerin and Tierney get fit again, because these are two key areas for me which has really let Arsenal's defence down, and I think a lot of people are very quick at pointing fingers at our defence, but forget that we've been really short in numbers in these key positions. So that's still some time away, and we just kind of make do with what we've got at the moment. But I'm really going to stick my neck out for the game coming up, and I really think against Tottenham we're going to thump them. Tottenham are struggling a little bit, even though they've got Son back recently, and I wouldn't say a big fan of him because of the shirt he's wearing, but I think he's a really dangerous player, let's say that I think that Arsenal are going to really thump Tottenham, either a 4-1 or even a 5-1, and I think that heavily depends on Torreira playing and Emery having the balls, on playing the front three, giving them the confidence, and then putting out a performance which I think all of us Arsenal fans are dying to see. Over and out.